Down the line, probably I think we can talk about ourselves, take some time. But prior to that, uh, so since I mean, I'm expecting that this Power BI training is something very new to every one of you. Or do you even have any experience on the Power BI, or is this the very first time that you guys are attending? Any kinds of hands-on experience you have, or anywhere you have seen the Power BI reports, and then how you guys got interested?
Hi, Shrikant. Subhash here.
Yes,
Good
Subhash.
morning. Yeah. Uh, so actually, I have been through the basics of Power BI. Not started
Okay.
much into it, but just loading Excel and having some analysis basics. But considering the amount of data yeah, I'm into HR basically, so all the analytics I'm planning to prepare in HR. So that's what I thought. It's interesting. The visualizations and everything is better compared to what we do in Excel in a very long route. So that can be achieved shortly here. So that's what I like. So I thought to have a thorough knowledge about it. From the data analytics part, since the data science is the future, so I thought this one is bit easy to use.
Okay, that's good. That's really cool.
Yeah, I have actually enrolled because it's the talk of the town sort of thing. Many people talk about it and its features. So I'm also extensively an Excel user.
Hmm.
So what's that's admirable. So let's also get equipped with it. So that's why I'm also enrolling in this program.
Right. Thank you. Anyone else? I think I know we have
Uh,
got around 5 participants.
yeah, so Shrikant, this is Narendra.
Yes,
I
Narendra.
am also using first time. This is the first experience. I am working in Excel,
Hmm.
but this is my first time to introduce with Power BI.
Okay. Okay. Anand.
Hi, good morning.
y-
This is
Good
Anand.
morning, Anand. Yes, Anand.
Actually, I done the basic program of a Power BI, right? Okay, to which last sir had told about it. He uploading a Excel sheet and everything. I done it, but I was thinking to learn some more about it, so I was joining this program.
Okay. All right. So what I heard from everyone, like you guys are a little aware of this Power BI, but want to make sure that you need to grow more in terms of extensively using this Power BI application, and then ensure you have some beautiful reports that can be shared with every one of your peers or everyone. So let's talk about it. I think one of our participants, I think one of our friends said, used a very good word. It's like a talk of the town. Thank you so much for the wording. I think it's been quite some years that I have heard this word called the talk of the town. But yeah, uh, yes, this is kind of a talk of the town for now. And why Power BI is more admirable or more powerful, and why people are talking about the Power BI? Why not the other applications in the market? So just give you a bit of the background, right? So Tableau is already been introduced in the market prior to the Power BI, and it's been quite very long time that Tableau is on the market. I should say there is close to around 7 years of gap between the Tableau and the Power BI, which were released into the market. But soon, although the Power BI is released after the Tableau, after around the 5 years of existence or 6 years of existence, Power BI came into the picture and then boomed a lot in the market because the very first thing, it is very own application created by the Microsoft, right? The second bit, it is because of the features that hold in the market right now in terms of the data that it could be represented. Now, you could definitely question us back. Okay, why Tableau and why not the other different visualizations tool that we are looking at? Again, the answer is with you guys, because since you guys are an extensively on the Excel user, and you are aware of the PowerPoint application, and you know how the Microsoft Word application works, and you use the Microsoft Outlook on a daily basis, and that's where, when you look at this different kinds of Microsoft products which are being released, and you are an extensive user of any of the two of these products, right? So this Power BI is also very, very similar to such kind of applications like an Excel and the PowerPoint. Well, on a short note to say, a Power BI is a powerful visualization tool which is created in the market by the Microsoft, which holds a different kinds of applications or the functions which are very similar to an Excel and very similar to a PowerPoint, okay, and very close to the Power Query, and very close to the Power Pivot, and then Power Maps. So all these kind of different applications are put together into a single application, and that is where it is called Power BI. And yes, no doubt, when we talk about the BI, it is called the business intelligence tool. And then when it comes to the business intelligence tool, you can see a different kinds of features which are really hoping up into the market than compared to the remaining other applications. Now you might say Tableau is also giving you the same thing, but when it comes to the market, what is going to happen? You would be choosing more which is very close to your heart, correct? Because you don't. I mean, it's a general tendency. We don't try to use something which we are not aware of, and then need to run and be quicker for the job. So but we try to see first which is very close to our heart, and then very close to what we have experienced, and that's not just for an year or two, but it's several years, right? So that's the reason where you keep thinking about this Power BI application. But yes, when it comes to the Power BI application, when we are talking about it, it has got the Power Query and the Power View, Power Maps. All these are in a different pages. Okay. Now, what we are going to see on the next slide is what are the different kinds of Power BI. So since we talk about the Power BI, which is saying very easier and doesn't require any kind of a prior knowledge in terms of coding or anything, but just by knowing what you know in Excel, the few of the formulas in Excel, you are able to understand what is Power BI right now. I'm sorry, did I cut someone? Someone wants to talk? Okay, Power Query, Power App, is it included in the Power BI? Yes, it is included in the Power BI, Manchunathan. This is a complete package of the Power Query and then Power App, which comes onto the Power BI. But yes, you need to keep upgrading your Power BI. That will help you more in terms of getting all these functions put together in a single functionality. But right now, Power Query, I should say, it is being used. Power App is also being used in the Power BI. Now let's talk about what are the different kinds of the Power BI. Is it really necessary that you need to know about the importance of what are the different parts of the Power BI? Yes. So extensively, the Power BI application comes into the market, and which is very useful to everyone in three different kinds of forms. One is called the Windows desktop application, which is what we say Power BI desktop, and the second bit is the Power BI online SaaS application, and the third is the Power BI mobile application. Now I'll give you a differences between all the three. When you're talking about the Power BI desktop application, this is a standalone application wherein you can download it from your Google Store or Microsoft Store, and then you can download the same thing to your desktop application and you can install it. So this doesn't require a kind of a license to install on your system. So you can use this, right? But moving on to the Power BI online SaaS application, this is not a standalone application that you can install on your system. However, this is something called an online application that needs to be configured through the server settings on your laptop or a desktop, provided that you need to have an account in the Power BI application. Now you might think, um, Lakshmi, can I go and buy an license application for myself? Well, you can buy a Microsoft application license, but you cannot buy a Power BI license. What is the difference between that? A Power BI license has been given only to organizations which are having a minimum to minimum 22, maximum 10, maximum to more number, and above minimum or 20. Okay, so only the organization accounts are being given or provided with licenses on the Power BI desktop. So what does this extensively mean in? This mean in when you log into your accounts and when you log into your Power BI desktop application, and when there is an option where you can click on the sign in, even though you hold an application, I mean the license on the Microsoft application, you cannot be able to log into the Power BI online application. So this is what an online SaaS application is we are talking about. But again, we are going to circle back again on terms of like what exactly is this online application. This is something like a SharePoint application, which is similar to the SharePoint. So you can publish your report and you can share the report with your peers, and you can allow your peers to modify your report, do additions or deletions or modifications on your report, or you can export them, or you can share the links with your friends, or they can download the report. It all depends upon the different kinds of accesses that you are giving up. Okay, but however, this is completely possible only on the online service application. Now, other than this, how your desktop application will still work? uh, like you create an Excel file and then share it with your friend through an email, and he can pull the Excel file with him, and he can open the Excel file and then do the modification, save it locally, and again he will send it. So whenever you both are sharing the report, you are taking the report or saving the report locally and then doing the modifications locally. And that is what it is, the standalone application we are talking about. Online SaaS is something like a deploying to a particular location on an online where you and your friend or your peers can connect together and then do a modifications on the report together. And that is what it is called the online SaaS. Now on the third part, which is called the mobile applications, on the mobile applications where you can see this is extensively created only for creating a particular website, or I mean not the website, like creating your particular report, how it should look when someone access through the mobile Power BI application. And do you need to have a license again towards it? Yes, you need to definitely have a license towards accessing the mobile application to see your reports can be seen on your mobile application directly, and you should be able to see how the reports are looking at. Okay, so these are the three basic and major elements that you need to know. And apart from this, whatever you have, they are like Power BI Pro and the Premium, and it has got different kinds of advantages. But all this comes in with the different kinds of packages based upon, and also it can be used extensively between your IT and then your and between you as the end user and administrator. This is how it looks in. Okay, so this is what you need to have a bit of understanding about the parts of the Power BI.
Hello,
Yes.
sir. So you are telling the desktop BI is like having a old desktop version of Microsoft Excel, correct? So if that application is there, I will be able to open the Excel file, do something, and I can attach in mail and send it.
Mm, okay. I'll again give you a bit of understanding. Power BI desktop application is something you can install it in your desktop or a laptop. Okay. Now you can create a report on the Power BI desktop application. Like how you open an Excel file and then save the file, you can also do the same thing. Like you can create a particular report in the Power BI desktop application. Once you create the report, you will save the file as called PBIX, okay, which can be saved locally. Now the same report can be shared with your friends or your peers or anyone through email. For them to open, they should also have the Power BI desktop application. Is it clear? Okay. So it's Narendra who have asked the question. I hope you are clear now.
No, I think Manjunathan asked this question.
Manjunathan, but okay. Is Manjunathan got dropped out? Looks like. Okay. So let's wait for Manjunathan. Once he checks in, we'll talk. All right. So the next slide we are talking about. So what is a workflow of the Power BI? So why we need to know what is a workflow of the Power BI? Any standalone applications that we are working on, it's really good to know, understand how it works in, correct? So on the left-hand side, you can see these are the input sources for the Power BI desktop application, from where you have the options to connect, like Internet of Things, Salesforce, Excel, Google Analytics, or you can again put it from your PDF document or um, your DB, like Microsoft DB, SQL Server, Access Database. So these are the different kinds of applications that you can connect to your Power BI desktop application. And so that is where in between I have given you the emblem wherein it shows from these different applications you can connect to the Power BI. And from the Power BI desktop, again, what are the different steps that you are going to undergo? One, once you have created this, you should be able to transform and clean the data. And then once you do it, you are going to create a data model. And once you do the data modeling, you are going to create a visualization. And once your visualizations are completed, then you are going to say, this is called the report. Like how you will say in Power BI, you would have created some different kinds of charts and everything in an Excel file. And usually you name it as like you have created a dashboard. But in Power BI, the meaning of dashboard is completely different. But when you create a visualization in different pages in a single report, that is what we call it as extensively called Power BI desktop report. Okay, so start working on this using this terminology and understand the terminology like transform and cleaning of the data, data modeling, visualization, and then report. So the very first thing that needs to come to your mind when you can create reports in your Power BI desktop application. Okay. Hi Manjanath, I think looks like you're back.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sorry, I was just asking that online SaaS, we will not get that easily, right? Without 20 licenses or something you were telling, no? We will not get that something.
See, that online application is something you cannot access unless and until you have an organization account. So if your organization is having more number of people, so the licenses can be acquired only through that. If you are working
Okay,
for,
so
let's say, IBM, for example, you are working for some IBM, then what is going to happen? So when you log into your Power BI desktop online SaaS application, you need to have, let's say, your ID should be like manjanathan.ibm.com. If you have something like a gmail.com, which is not registered as an organization, definitely you cannot access the online application.
okay, okay, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Because most of us might be any one of you, if you are acquiring the Microsoft license in terms of deploying like O365 license you got, and wherein you can have one Excel, a PowerPoint, Word, Outlook, everything. But yes, unfortunately, you cannot use same account to log into the Power BI online because that comes in as an individual account, not an organization account. All right, so the next slide says how your Power BI desktop application looks like. So this is how a Power BI desktop application looks like, where we are going to work on this particular application. And the whole training here will be completely based upon the Power BI desktop application, since even neither of us can log into the Power BI online. But and, I mean, fortunately, if someone is having um an organization account, maybe we can see at the end. I can give you a kind of a glimpse how does it work in. But otherwise around, we are going to give you a complete training on the Power BI desktop application wherein you will learn everything in terms of like how you can create a report from the scratch from different application sources, and then how you can create the data modeling, and how you can transform and cleaning up the data, and how do you create a visualization, and what are the different kinds of visualizations that you're going to work on, and then finally how do you create a report and how do you publish it. So this is what you're going to learn on the Power BI desktop application for entire course. And as I told, mentioned on the right hand side, you will have three different kinds of views like report, data, and model, which we are going to see again onto the desktop application. And the next slide here that talks about like how we are going to do a step-by-step procedure, like connect the data. So when you are connecting the data, you can connect the data through multiple sources. Like as I told you, your data source could be an Excel file, or it could also be a text file, and it can also be a folder. From a folder, you can extract the information, or like a kind of a PDF, and so on. You can create through connect through different methods. But every data that you are connecting requires a transforming and cleaning. So when we say transforming and cleaning, this happens through a Power Query editor mode. Um, okay, let me take you back through your Excel, MS Excel application. Now, every one of you here who is attending the course, if every one of you have Office 365, then in your Excel, you might see a section called the Power Query, which automatically comes in with the O365 application, and that works on the Power Query editor. And the application there, what you see in Excel, which is called the Power Query, and the the Power Query editor in Power BI desktop, both are one and the same. But the only changes or the only difference that you might find, one is getting operated in an Excel, the second one gets operated into the Power BI desktop. So there is a slight difference between both the places. And it also, the options that you will see might differ. When I say might differ, it's addition or deletion of few of the steps in between the Excel Power Query Editor and the Power BI Power Query Editor. But otherwise around, this is going to be like a kind of a same thing. Okay. And then this is again, as I told you, you can whatever the steps that you're performing on the Power Query Editor for the Power BI desktop, those gets automatically recorded. So since they get recorded, okay, so this is something very similar to the VBA macro coding that can be recorded within an Excel application. Like how you can have the option to record in Excel VBA. Similarly, the steps that you do on the Power BI desktop application gets automatically recorded as a step. Okay, so that is where this through that methodology, that is what we call it as the cleaning and transforming are happening. Then you can create a model out of it. So this is about this particular slide we are talking. And the next slide, we are talking about visualization. So at end of the day, when you are creating a report in the Power BI desktop application, and then you share the same thing with your management or your peers or anyone. So end of the day, everyone would like to see the statistics in a very beautiful visualization way, right? So that's where the visualization comes and comes or plays a prominent role in the Power BI desktop application. So on the reporting side, on the visualization side, when you talk, you might come across the same old legend charts like bar chart, column chart, or pie chart. So these are the legacy charts that you can be creating. However, what else you can still do on the visualization, like a new methodologies? Like you can see, there are few of the maps like heat map, bubble map, scattered, tree map, and visual filled in maps. So there are different kinds of visualizations that are being released into the market. And again, based upon your login, uh, then you can see more and more kind of visualizations in the Power BI desktop. So that's it about the visualization. and this slide here talks about like what is the different kinds of report. So on the right hand side, what I'm going to show you on the right hand side on the picture, this is exactly how a dashboard looks in Power BI. However, when we talk about what exactly is a dashboard, see, this dashboard is a collection of different visualizations from either different reports or a single report. Okay, so what does this mean in? You might create 10 different visualizations in 10 different pages within a single report. And remember that such kind of reports, there are around 5 to 6 reports created by your team. Then each visualization from each one of the report arranged in a tile in a single page is called a dashboard. Okay, so this means in the least level of showing the Power BI is a report. So multiple reports, so multiple visualizations creates into creates a single report, and the visualizations from multiple reports can be created onto the desktop. Sorry, on the dashboard. Okay, so this is how what exactly is a dashboard meaning and what a report meaning. Okay, right. Before I move on to the previous slide, let me give you a an understanding about this application as well. Again, just keep this in mind, bear this in mind, and then think about it, and let me know if you are able to understand. Well and good. If not, I'll try to repeat the same thing. This is a very usual way that you might have come across the same thing, but for you to make you understand much more easier, I'm just giving you this method again. Um, you would have used Excel 2013 or Excel 2007 or Excel 2010 application, maybe around 5 or 7 years, or let's say 6 years back. And if you are a fresher and you would have seen an application of the Microsoft, maybe around at least 2010 or 20, I mean, prior to 2013, at least it could be 2010 or 2007. You might have worked any one of the applications. Post which, today, right now, we are using, or let's say we have Microsoft Office 365 as a highest version on the Microsoft. Okay, O365 is the highest application in the market right now. Now, what is that we are trying to say? If you have created an Excel file in the latest version and you share this application or you share this Excel file to one of your friends who is using a very, very least version like 2007, let's say 2007 or 2010. Okay, so you are using also Office 365 and you created a file and then you saved the file and then shared your file with a friend, and your friend unfortunately is using 2010 or 2007. Then what do you think? Your friend should be able to open the file and see whatever the content that you have given in this particular file? No, it depends. Okay, if you are using a basic VLOOK formula within the same file, no problem at all, that's fine. But if you are using some formula which is available in Office 365 and not available in 2010, then you will see there is an issue coming up when you open the file, which is called compatibility issue. So what does that mean in? A higher version file can definitely not gonna fit onto the lowest version of the file. But yes, your lowest version of the file can still go and fit into the highest version. What does that mean in again? If you have created a file in around 2007 or 2003 application, and you share the same file with your friend who is using Office 365, he should be able to open the report and save the report to a highest version. And that is what you might have understood so far in the market. Now the same concept is going to get applied onto the Power BI desktop. What does this mean in? Today, I might be using a one latest Power BI desktop application and I've created a report. And then you share the same report with your friends and your job is completed for today. Now you opened the file or the Power BI again after 4 months. Then when you open the file in the 4 months, what is going to happen? Your file, since you have created the file in the same application 4 years back, it will be open. However, you will get a pop-up message stating that there is a new version to be upgraded for the Power BI and you want to go ahead with or not. And once you click on the go ahead, it will go and upgrade it. If you don't click on the upgrade, it will keep on asking. Okay, then there will not be any issue. But when the issue will come back, if your friend is using an oldest version than the version that you are using, then it will keep asking, please upgrade this back to your highest version. Otherwise, around this is not going to work out. Okay, any option that you choose from the Power BI desktop application in order to work out, so it should be compatible with the latest software which is available on your system or your machine, which is really important. Okay, so always remember, if your friend have created a Power BI version file on the highest application and shared with you, you also need to upgrade your Power BI. Unless and until you upgrade it, you cannot see or open the report in the highest version. And then you created the version in a oldest version, and you have a very new version right now. There is no problem in that file because it can open automatically. So this is a major difference that you're going to find out onto the Power BI desktop application, where you have to make sure what's the version of the file. I mean, that application will drive you. However, I thought I'll give you an information about it. And the last slide here talks about what is the difference between a Power BI and the Power BI service, and what are the different things that you can do on a Power BI desktop application. Like as I mentioned, you can connect this to different many data sources, and you can do a transformation, you can do shaping, you can model, and you can again create some kind of rules and measures, calculations, and everything. But on the service application, you can only connect to some limited sources, but not to all the resources. And you can create a dashboard on the Power BI service, but not on your desktop application. And you will have a different kinds of applications and the workspaces provided on the online service. And rest like very close, like you can create a paginated ones. You can do an RLS management. When I say what does RLS management mean in, this is called the row level security. In another words or terms to say, you are controlling or your data at how the others can see your data. That is what we call it as a RLS here. And then gateway connections are something you deploy it like with the highest version on the Power BI online service. You can deploy it so that it can automatically schedule the report for you, like refresh the report and then pull the data and then schedule the report and then share it. So this is what it is going to happen on the Power BI service. And in between these two, the file, I mean, the area that it is going to talk about, it is ideally saying how, what are the different kinds of services that are available in both the cases. You can create reports in both the places, and you can create the visualizations, you can create the security, and you can create a bookmarks, filters, question and answers, and everything between these two applications. So this is on a nutshell to say what is the Power BI and what is online Power BI. Okay, and um, so as I told you that we are going to work more extensively onto the Power BI desktop application. So we'll concentrate more in terms of it so that you will get to have a 360-degree cover view in terms of the Power BI. Okay, that's all I have it on the presentation. And
Sir, you have mentioned something in red color, only the latest version in the previous slide. Yeah.
yes, so this is what I have given you a glimpse of it, right? Just a few minutes before stating.
Yeah, you are telling
Yeah,
about higher version and lower version. When I'm sending to counterpart, if he is not having that higher version, the features cannot be visualized properly. So if I am creating in Jan 2023, I'm having I downloaded today Power BI desktop. So even this needs to be constantly downloaded again and again. My concern is that one only. Even I'm using a desktop version for my own purpose or something. Is it required? I need to monthly once or something. I need to keep downloading. Will that be required?
okay. So let's say, for example, you have downloaded today a January 2023 version. Okay. Then you created a report. So you're absolutely okay. Then you have closed this file and then you haven't turned back for this report till around 4 or 5 months later. Okay. So after 5 months, let's say in May 2023, you have opened the same Power BI application and the same report. Then the very first thing what it is going to happen once you are connected to the internet, the very first thing it is going to say, there is a latest version, do you want to upgrade to it or not? Okay. Then again, it's up to you. You want to upgrade it or not. Let's say you haven't upgraded and you're running on the same thing. Is your Power BI work? Yes, your Power BI will work. And the report that you have created earlier, will that work? Yes, it will work because you have created the report in Jan 2023 version, but still you haven't upgraded and your latest version is Jan 2023, which is absolutely good. Now, this is the scenario. The scenario two, the same report which you have created using Jan 2023 version, you shared it with one of your friend who is on the call. Then he upgraded his Power BI desktop version somewhere in the month of, uh, let's say, September 2022. In his system, he's having something September 2022 version as the latest. And then you shared the report which you have created in the version 2023 of the Power BI. And then you shared the report with your friend. Now, since he is having September 2022 version, the file, the moment once you share it with him, he cannot be able to open the same file and then he cannot able to see your report. The reason he is holding a least version. Okay. Unless and until he upgrades his version to a latest version, at least a minimum to minimum a January 2023 or at least above, only then he should be able to see your report. Otherwise around he will not be able to see the report. Is this clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Very good.
So that means if I'm doing my own projects without any external connections, maybe I will be able to access my projects. If there is some any external projects are coming, it may be latest one. That time I may have challenges. So it's better to keep updated version.
Yes, and then instead of you doing that, in fact, the Power BI desktop application will help you in upgrading it. The moment once there is an upgrade of it, it will automatically tell you that there is a new release version of this particular in the market. You want to upgrade. The moment once you click on the upgrade, it will automatically upgrade it. If you see a
And it's
pop-up,
free of cost also, right? It's a free of cost. This
it's a free
update.
of cost because Power BI desktop application alone is for the free of cost. It doesn't
Oh,
require any license.
thanks, thanks.
Okay.
So,
All right.
Shrikant,
Yes.
Shrikant, I have a query.
Yes.
You just rightly said that we can take Excel format as a base format for Power BI, means Excel as a base data for Power BI.
Mm-hmm.
So we can export this Excel file and we can create a dashboard or report in Power BI, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
my understanding is right, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So if I create, work on that data and create a report in Power BI,
Mm-hmm.
uh, after that, that file is created in Power BI. Is that
Mm-hmm.
going to work in Excel also?
No.
No.
Okay, I understand now what you're talking. Probably the the point that I have shared with you probably earlier kind of a little bit misleading. Um, if you are okay, this is what I understood from your question. If you are expecting that uh, you open an Excel file, you have a certain data in that. So you created some charts and everything, and then you are saving the file, and then you are importing this into a Power BI desktop application. Okay,
Right.
and then you did some changes on that,
Yes.
and then you are expecting that will that happen? The same change happen back onto the Excel. This is actually a kind of a misleading. Probably it's my mistake. If that is what the intention I have given you, I extremely apologize. No, it is not that. The source of data, see visualization, when we talk about, we are creating visuals in the Power BI desktop. When I say visuals, it is nothing but your charts. You are going to create it on the Power BI. But to create a particular chart or a visual, you need to have a tabular data or some form of the data.
Right.
Correct. That
Right.
That source data we are talking about can be in your can be sitting in your Excel. So you might have your data in your Excel sheet, or you might have your data in a sheet text format, or like text pattern like notepad, or you might have the form data in the form of a tables sitting in some MySQL data server or Oracle or any other way. So your data, raw data, is being pulled onto the Power BI desktop application or being connected to the Power BI desktop. And once after this has been pulled in, you might create a few data models. And once you create the different data models, then you can create a different visualizations. Now, this is what is going to happen on the Power BI. Now, any changes that you are doing since the time you are importing your data from the source to your Power BI desktop application, there is no impact that it is gonna create on your source of the data. Like either it is your Excel or a text or anywhere. Okay. It is just only pulling the data into the Power BI, and then that is where you are doing the modeling. Is this clear?
Right, right.
Sir,
Right.
Srikant sir, since you touched
Yes.
upon this, is it possible to have a real-time connection of the source data from SAP to the Power BI input that
Good. Yes, we can create it, provided that you have a login credentials, the proper login credentials. Yes, you should be able to do it.
okay, I need not have an intermediate Excel download and all. So real time, some thousand rows of data in my Excel. So it can be shown in a visualized format by real time interface, right?
Yes, you can do it. So let's say your data is sitting in SAP HANA or SAP platform. Okay, and your data is sitting in form of a table in an SAP platform. So in the Power BI desktop, you have an place where you can log into a SAP, or if it is a kind of a different server. So you might have to give your data server name and then your username and then the password. And then once you click on the connect, that it is going to connect back to your SAP application deployed within your system. And then it is going to pull the data tables within that and will show you what are the different kinds of data tables that you have. And from there, it is going to pull your information and yes, create the visualization. That becomes your live data. Any changes that it is going to happen on your desktop, on your DB, okay, with your refresh, it will automatically pull all your information onto the Power BI desktop.
Okay, okay, sir. Maybe that will need some IT team involvement because SAP server and all, mostly the end user may have limited access. Okay, still it is possible. Right.
Yes, it is possible. You definitely need to have your login ID for that. Yes.
Thanks.
Like you can connect to any open websites from your Google, like a gold website or a share market or a weather condition websites. You can go anywhere. You don't need to have a specific logins over there because it's an open website. But yes, if there is a website where you need to have a user ID and login required, right? Yes, you need to provide the user ID and password. Only then it should be working. And this happens
From Zoho
especially
also is possible, sir.
TV.
From Zoho also the data can be used for Power
Zoho.
BI. Yeah.
What is this Zoho mean?
Actually, it's a CRM
Okay,
like
probably you need
SAP.
to have
It's
a,
an
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
probably you need to have a user ID and password for that, definitely.
Okay, sir. Okay, thanks. We can
Yeah.
proceed. Yeah.
Yes, Nair, will take the question and answer again at the end of the day. But this is interimly, we are just talking about what exactly is uh, the data sources. But yeah, I'll definitely take this. Okay, so this is what, on a nutshell, we are talking about the Power BI desktop application. And now this entire course will be taught on the usage of the Power BI desktop. Now, give me a shout on the chat box. Have you guys have downloaded the Power BI desktop application? Okay. Yes, yes, yes. Manjunath Narendra Nair. Anand?
Sir, actually, I downloaded previously. As I said, I learned the basic one. Okay, so that is version of October 2022. That will work, right, sir?
It will work, but the look and feel will be different when compared to the latest version with your oldest version. If you are fine with it, I'm okay. If not, you can upgrade it to your latest version. If there is an unless and until there is a challenge.
Okay, I try to upgrade it. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, good. I could see that everyone have downloaded the Power BI desktop application. Very well and good. Now, also give me an understanding if you have received a folder like this called the data sets, and within the data sets, do you see multiple files, and along with it, do you also see a folder called the images? Is this received? Okay, it's yes from Manjunath, yes from Narinder. Okay, Anand and Nair. Okay, good. All right. So I could see that you guys have downloaded all the file. Now let me, before we get into that, let me give you an understanding. Okay. So use this data only just for the training purpose and do not take the data very, very seriously that, um, okay, Lakshmi, you might say there are few of the, I mean, as per the data, the statistics, you will go into the market and then talk to the people about it. So just keep this as an example and do not uh, take this out and then uh, think about the statistics. Okay, this is my humble request. The second part, you have got a statistics for a particular company called Zomato and how they are operating, in which locations they're operating, and what are the different uh, locations they are offering different kinds of cuisines, and what is the current rate, and how much the people are liking about it, and what is the customer rating. So these are and how many are then preferred for online food and then dine in. So different kinds of aspects and database has been created and then brought in for an example. So what we are going to do is to create some data out of it and then make some presentable dashboard out of the same thing. Okay. Sorry, the presentable report out of the data statistics given. So we have got data for different continents like Asia, Africa, Europe, NAM, Oceania, and SAM. So there are 6 different continents, and the data for 6 different continents is being provided within this each one of the file. And additionally, you have got 3 more files. One is country code, the currency converter, and something called the fact table. So these um, 3 files are kind of a supporting data that can be adding more advantage or giving or creating the connectivity between each of the continent file. Okay, so in together you have got around 9 different Excel files, and there is one particular workbook, sorry, Word document. So then right now ignore it about it. It is whatever we are explaining right now. It is mentioned in the Power BI in the public workshop document in terms of a kind of question and how you can operate it. And apart from that, you have another folder called the images where we can use certain images to our report. So it will be of more useful. So this is what, on a nutshell, we are going to analyze the data from around the world in different continents and the data pertaining to each one of the continent or the restaurants which have been located across each of the continent. So this is what we are going to take up as an example. Now, before we get into this, I request everyone to open the Power BI desktop application. So go to the Power BI desktop application if it is there on your system tray, well and good. If not, just click on the Power BI desktop here and then open the Power BI desktop application.
Sir, one small query. Actually, in
Mhm.
my Power BI, it's not showing any upgradation. So can I delete and again reinstall it, or I will do it afterwards? That's work.
Not required. Let me open the Power BI desktop application. I'll show you. Okay, this is what you have got, which is, I mean, if you are able to see the same thing, then you can go to the help on the top. Okay, and here you can click on the about or support. Okay, so if you click on the about, this will tell you what is your latest version. This is your latest version. Okay, if not, you can click on this app.powerbi.com. This will walk you or take you through the website wherein you can download the application from there. And I believe if your application is around October 2022, then I think you should see all these in a yellow color, yellow or orange, pale yellow. This
Yeah,
is
it's
what you will
yellow.
see. Yeah, because that's the oldest version. The newest version will look like in a green color.
Okay.
So just open the Power BI desktop application, everyone, and then let me know once you're ready. Okay, Manjunath opened, Nair opened, Anand, I believe he is also open. Narendra? Okay, done. Well and good. So this is the first thing. As a first step, we have opened it. Now just follow the same instructions and then let's look into the system. Type Control S from your keyboard. Once you type the Control S from your keyboard, you should see the Save As window should pop out. Okay. And if it pops out, do not load your or save your file in different location, but I would suggest the place where you have created the data sets, where you have downloaded the data set. Okay. So in that location, not within the data set, but out of that location, just put it as a day one. Just mention this as day one. Browse towards the place where your data sets are being downloaded. So in the same location, mention the file name as day one and then click save. The moment you do this, you should see on the top, your file name should automatically convert from untitled to day one Power BI desktop. So this is an indication that your file is saved with the name as day one. And let me know once you guys have done this. Okay, Manju says done. Nair says done. Narendra and Anand. Great. So now we have successfully saved the day one Power BI desktop application. So what I meant earlier, if you would have saved the file properly, then on the data sets folder. So you see on the public workshop, I have the data sets and within that I have the file name as day one. Now let's look at the day one file. So before we get into the 100% training mode, I have some points that I need to definitely put it on the ground so that you are aware of and then follow the same thing. So just think about it. Do you observe the circle on my screen coming up? Right?
Yes.
Right. At any given point in time, whenever I'm training you or walking you through certain options, please do only focus on the circle which is going to get appear on the screen. Okay, please do focus. For example, out of all the screen, when I'm saying that, okay, let's look at the tab called examples. So it's easy for you to follow when you focus on the screen on the circle, because I am going to highlight where you need to concentrate. That's the first thing. The second bit, the tab names here on the top, which is called the file, home, insert. So these are called the tab names. So I might say, go to the file tab. So you need to focus here. Go to the home tab, you need to focus here. Go to the insert tab, you need to focus here. Now, I will say, go to the insert tab. So you'll focus here and then click on the insert tab. And after that, I would again give a command saying, okay, go to the Power Platform group. So the moment once you heard the name called the group, you need to concentrate on this place, the names which are appearing down, like for each in the tab. Pages is a group, visuals is a group, AI visuals is a group, Power Platform is a group, Elements is a group, Sparklines is a group. Okay. So I will say, go to the option paginated report. Then the moment once I say this option, I will also guide you how you can go. I'll say, go to the insert tab, look for the Power Platform group. Inside that, you will find an option called the paginated report. So your concentration should always be on the circle as well as the wordings that I would say. Okay. Listen to the tab name. So when I say modeling tab and then go to the calculations group, click on the new table tab, new table group icon, you have to look at this option. Okay. The tab name followed by the group name, then it is for and then followed by the option name. So we are talking about these three options separately. Just keep this in mind whenever we are talking, and then you need to concentrate on this. Okay. And the options, the way that I have explained, like the tab name, group name, and the finding out the options remains same across the Power BI application and as well onto the Power Query application as well. So now, as a very first step, okay, since this is a Power BI desktop application, we are entitled to go to the Power BI query option first. So once you are thorough with the query, then we will upgrade this back to our Power BI desktop application, and then we'll see out the visualizations. Now, the first step you need to do is go to the home tab, and in the home tab, under the queries group, you have an option called the transform data. So just click on the transform data. Under the home tab, under the queries group, you will have an option called the transform data. So just click on the transform data. So the moment you click on the transform data, right, you should see there is an Power Query editor screen that it automatically open. So this is called the Power Query editor screen. Let me know if you guys were able to see the same thing, Power Query editor screen. Okay, how about Anand?
So it's done.
Okay, all right. So this is the place where your Power Query editor screen appears. And now from here, let's see how you are going to put into the option. And as I told you, the options remains the same. As I told you, like, think about the transform group. You need to go to the transform tab, you'll go to the transform tab. When I say go to the add column tab, you'll go to the add column tab. When I say view tab, you'll go to the view tab. Similarly, the home tab. Okay. So all the tabs, you will go into the tab, and then within that you'll go to the groups, and then within that you'll go to the options that I say. Right. And throughout this particular training, um, also we will be discussing for now initially how you can load a data from a static Excel file. That is what I'm going to show you. And then you can also look into the other portions of the file. Like the other examples, like how you can create to other different source, but based upon the availability of the time, we should be able to do it. And I believe we can be able to do it. So don't worry about that. Right. So before we do this, I also wanted to see, can you guys, any one of you can confirm, go to the data set. Okay. Go to the data sets, and within the data sets, you have a different continent files like Asia, Africa, and then Europe. Now, any one of you can, okay, probably you can open. Yes, you can open. So I can also open the file. Let's see this. So let's see. I'm opening the Africa file for a minute. All right. So we have got the Africa file. Then I also have a file from continent called Asia. Okay, this is the Asia continent. So this is the database that you are going to see right now with 7 different columns, or I think 8 different columns. Now you have got 10 different columns of the data. Okay, the Asia, Africa, Europe, like that. So let's see, load one of the file. Now the very first thing, we are going to load the file. How you are gonna see, under the home tab, under the home tab, under the new query group, you have an option drop down called the new source. So you need to click on the new source on the Power Query Editor platform. And once you click on the new source, it will say to open the Excel workbook. So I'm opening the Excel workbook, and then I'm going to browse the file from the datasets group. So I'm going to click on the datasets and then click on Asia as the first file. I'm giving the Asia as the first file here, and then click open. So do this step by go to the home tab, and under the home tab, look for the new query group. Under the new query group, you will have an option called the new source. Click on the new source. You will see the first option of the Excel file. Click on the Excel file and then choose or browse for the Zomato file. Okay. So this navigator window will again show you the Zomato Asia file number or the name along with the preview. And then once you click on OK, this is going to get added to the Power Query Editor screen as a first file. Okay. Now I'll give a pause. Just give me a shout once you guys have done the same thing. Okay. So now let's look at the data here, how the data has been loaded and what is that you need to look at. So I have loaded the Asia file from the tab that we have downloaded. Okay. Now after I downloaded, the first thing what you would have observed, the Power Query Editor screen comes with different kinds of options within inside that. Okay, let's look at the options here. So the left hand side, this is called the query section. So what does this query section mean? You might keep adding around hundreds and hundreds of tables which needs to be appeared here. Okay, so all the table names are converted, or all the, even a tiny table to a large table or a medium table, any table that comes or is within this particular file. Okay, then this appears as a single query. For example, you are loading or you have selected a file with around 15 different tabs with 15 different sheet names. Okay, so when you select the file and then click open, you will have the option of selecting either all the sheets, or you will have to open one particular sheet. And the way, if you are selecting one particular sheet, then it will be loaded as one single table. So you have the option to create 15 different sheets as a single table or with different tables put together, but the procedure remains the same. This is a procedure that remains the same. Just a minute, sir. No, no. Sorry, Manju. It's not a break from the training. Right. Sorry. Coming back to the session now. So this is the first file that we have loaded. And before we have loaded any data, before we further load any data, now let's take a look at what are the different kinds of options what Power Query Editor offers to you, and what is necessary and what is not necessary here. Okay. Now let's look at the step-by-step procedure. And the left-hand side, as I told you, that you are going to see the different queries. Your different queries will be each one of the table data that you are loading from different application or different files, or any from the in any form from a different source. Each one of the data that you are loading becomes as each one of the query on this particular report. Okay, that's the first step. Now the second step, what you're going to follow, like in Excel, how you are seeing a spreadsheet when you open an Excel workbook and see a Excel spreadsheet. Okay, you have something called the formula bar. So this appears like this. This is called the formula bar. And within that, you are going to see the data in terms of the formula. Okay, now you would question, fine, if I don't see the formula bar, what do I do? Okay, because this is something very common that happens everywhere. Sometimes you might not see the formula bar on your screen, or you might, or if your friend is not seeing the formula bar on the screen, What is the step that you need to do? Go to the View tab on the top. In the View tab, you have something called the formula bar on the option. On the View tab, Layout group, you need to see the option called the formula bar, which needs to be checked in. If you uncheck this, you can see the formula bar is gone. If you check this, the formula bar comes in. Okay. I hope everyone you are able to do this and see this as well. All right. Then besides this, what else you also have? Okay. On the right hand side of this formula bar, there is an option called the query settings. Okay. Under the query settings, you will see two different sections. One is called the property and one is called the applied step. Now, what is so interesting about the properties? The left hand side, the query name, whatever the query name that you are loading, this will automatically comes in as a name of that or comes in under the name section of the property. Let's say, for example, this has been loaded with a different name. This comes in with a loaded with a different name. Now, I can understand there could be a question in your mind. On the left hand side, how did you see the query name is coming as a Zomato Asia? But I know that I have selected the file name called the Asia, right? You have selected the file name as a Asia. However, within that Asia file, there is a sheet called Zomato Asia. Similarly, when you might open the Africa file, you might see the sheet name as Zomato Africa. So the sheet name is appearing as a query name in this query editor. And the same query name is also being used as a name under the property section of this query. Okay. So remember that whatever the sheet name that you are selecting will work or will suffice as a different query under this Power Query editor. So keep the tick or take this blindly. Okay. What if there are two different sheet names coming up? And trust me, that is never going to happen, because in Excel file, you cannot have two different sheets with a single name. Okay, you might say, no, 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 I'm not saying that way. I'm saying, what if there are the same sheet names from two different Excel file workbooks? Even then, there is not a problem at all. It is going to create a duplicate over it. Let's say, for example, if I am using another file called the Zomato Asia, this is the sheet name having in another file, then when it is being loaded, it will load as Zomato Asia and Zomato Asia of 2. Okay, and Zomato Asia of 3, Zomato Asia of 4. That is how it will keep creating a new different query, right? So these are the different ways that when you're loading a query, this is what you need to observe. Now, coming to the right hand side again on the properties section. So this is the place where you will see the name of the query. And then below that, this is called the applied steps. On the applied steps, you have different steps which are coming up. Now, this is little important to know. If you remember the statement I have spoken, the added advantage in VBA, sorry, in Power Query, Power BI or the Power Query editor is it is going to record all the steps that you are going to do. Whatever the step you do, it is going to get recorded. Okay, like how it gets recorded in a macro, this is also getting recorded. However, in this section, when it is getting recorded, it records from the scratch, not from something where you started, where you ended. It starts from the scratch. Everything you do starts from the scratch. Now, what is it when I say it starts from the scratch? What is that I need to be aware of? First thing, you can see in between there is a data table coming up. Okay, this is a complete data table. And on the right hand side, under the applied steps, you see there are 4 different steps now currently. So when I click on the source, you can see on the top, it says this is the place where from I have, okay, this is a place from where I have browsed the file. Okay, I browse the file from this particular place. And you can see the sheet name here coming up. So this is the first step it shows. The second step, after I selected, okay, I have navigated to the file name called the Asia file. I clicked on the Asia. Since the Asia file is being clicked in, so it is called the navigation step. So it navigated. The moment once it is navigated, which means the moment once it opened or pulled the file in, the data within the file has been loaded into the file. However, each one of the file name, the row 1, Okay. In the other applications, this will automatically identify that the row one as a formula, sorry, as a header. But sometimes it might not happen with this file or with this application. Reason being, every data that it might denote might have a data, might have the header, might not have the header. So that's one of the reason where it doesn't consider. However, there is a step will automatically happen whenever you load a file. This is automatically will happen. Okay, so that's why there is a step called the promoted header. So if you observe this bit here, the first row right now, okay, it says restaurant ID, country code, city, and restaurant name. Just above that, you have got column 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Now, the moment once you click on the promoted header, you can see that the row data is moved to the top, which looks like restaurant ID, the country code, city, and then the new address and everything. So you can see the entire data here. And the next step is the change type. Now, you might make a note of it if you think this is, maybe I cannot remember sometimes, but I need to remember this point, which is important. Okay. The moment once the promoted headers option comes into the table, okay, the very next step will always be called the change type. So you will see this change type, which is automatically appearing after the promoted header step is automatically selected. Okay. The moment once you select on the automatic, the promoted header, this will automatically create one more row item called the change type. In the change type, it is going to change the content or the information. When I say the content of this, it is not going to actually change the data within the inside it, but it is going to create the format or set right the format of the data. What does this mean? Just take a look on the screens for now. Do not do anything on your screen. Just take a look at my screen. I am currently on the promoted header step of this particular table. Okay. Now, if you observe the step called the promoted header, okay, see this, the restaurant ID, it shows us 123, ABC 123, ABC 123, ABC 123. So if I look at this data in all the places, okay, it is showing you that ABC 123, and this is what the format is about. Now, after the promoted headers happen, the change type, because of the change type, what has happened in this particular step, if you look at that, the restaurant ID is automatically changed to 123. What does this indicate? 123. 123 indicates that this is a whole number format. Okay. So here also the country code is converted into the number format, and the city name is converted into a text format, and the restaurant ID converts into a text format. So wherever you see ABC, it is a text format. Wherever it is 123, it is number format like ABC 123. Okay. So this is what it is gonna happen every time whenever you use a promoted header. Is there any way that you can retrieve the data how it should look like um, prior to this, or let's say even after you upload the promoted header, your data should look like the earlier ones? And how do I ensure that it works like an earlier one? Now, it's a very simple way that you need to do. Under the applied steps, go to the last step, which is the change type, and then delete it. That's it. The moment once I delete, you can also see that this is automatically again with the way the earlier format was. Okay. So this is a promoted header step. So what I meant to say, any step that you are applying, anything that you are applying on this place will automatically appear here. So you need to be at any given point in time, if you want to switch back to an prior data, prior step, you can simply just click on the step. It will take you through that particular step. Okay. So in this case, if you ask me like what is the change that I'm going to bring in, I'm going to bring the restaurant ID, and this is what I wanted to convert. Then just uh, take a look at this. I'm not going to do any changes on the restaurant ID, neither on the country code. or neither on the city or any other place. But what I wanted to do is to ensure, yeah, so this is what I'm gonna change as on, okay? The sheet name called the as on. So how do I change the format of it? The changing the format is quite easier. If you observe each one of the column header name, before the column header name, it says ABC123. So before quizzes, it says ABC123. And before latitude, it says ABC123 and so on. It keeps going on. Now I go back to the as on date. And what does this ABC123 say? This is in a text format. Okay, this is a general format. This is what I have mentioned. Now that I want to change this format from a general format or a normal format to a date format. So how do I do that? Do I have to write a formula like in Excel to see it changes to the date format? No, absolutely not. You cannot do it that way. What you can do, what is the best you can do is go to this ABC123. Okay, click on this ABC123. The moment once you click on the ABC123, you can see that there are different steps which are involved that it can convert your data from one format to another format. Okay, you can change from one format to another format. So here, since I want to change this as on to a date format, all I'm going to do is to hover the mouse on the date and then choose the date, and this will automatically convert this to a date format. And that's where you will see the step called the change type step. This is also automatically added. Apart from that, if you also observe before the uh, name of the column or before the header name, okay, this time once I change the format to so date, you can see the date icon is automatically updated. Similarly, if you do the same changes to any other place, it will automatically change the same thing. For example, the quizzes, it shows in the general format. And if I want to change this back to a text format, so you can see this comes into the text format. So far understandable? Is it going good? How to come back? Can we select multiple column? Uh, like you don't want to go back and change the format, or you want? What is it exactly wanted to do, Manjuna?
No. Earlier you were showing that there are four rows, right? The change type. You
Hmm.
have deleted it. So I just asked whether similar to Excel undo something, whether there is a single step because you deleted no that one row was disappearing. So suppose if I
Right,
want
right.
to come back instantly, is there any method I was asking earlier?
No, no, not like Control Z. It is not gonna happen here. No Control Z will work. If you delete the one step, you're deleted. That's all.
What I asked is now you selected the date column. Suppose I want
Yeah, I selected the date column. Suppose.
suppose 3 to 4 columns. I want to simultaneously change the data type. Is it possible?
Yes, it is possible. Like you need to select. Okay. See. Once again, see this. I removed the change type. Now it is set, right? Now, first thing I want to change the date format. But do I have any other date column in this particular file? There is only one particular date column, right? So I can say I can do a change for the date column, correct? So I'm changing this to the date. Now, the moment once I change to the date, there is a step called change step which is involved. Now, till here you are clear.
Yes.
Okay. Now, next to the date column, there is a quizzens. I'm going to change the format of this quizzens to the text. So I'm going to select the text here. Now, the moment once I select the text, do you see, is there any other new step added or is it still changing on the previous step?
Same, only that one row is there. For multiple changes, it is showing change type as only one row.
Correct. But do you observe the formula bar? In the formula bar, do you see something like this? As on to type data, quizzes is to type text.
Yeah, we can see multiple columns are reflecting them, column headers.
Suppose, for example, if I select another city here, let's say city, I want to put the city and then I also want to take the restaurant name and address. This to us one single data type, which is called the text format. So I'm selecting this to a text. Okay. Let's wait. I think is this getting updated all at one shot or something? Data type as text. Now the data type got changed to the text format, right? This is in the text format. Correct.
Yes. Yeah.
But you are not seeing any applied step because it is happening on the same step. Only thing what you can see on the top, you will see those for additional these two also getting added. Okay.
Yeah, in the formula it is reflecting. Yeah.
Hi,
Correct.
Shrikant.
Yes.
Yeah, with reference to Manjunathan's question, like
Mhm,
if there are say 4 date columns,
mhm.
and can we select like all 4 columns and like multi-select and then change it, or individual column we have to select and change it?
You can select multiple columns at one time.
Okay.
Even if it is not being done, like you can select each one of the column like this, multiple columns. Let's say the locality and locality verbose. Oh, I am selecting the locality and locality verbose, and I'm going to change this to a text format. Do you see this is getting changed to the text format both
Yes.
together?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Now, elaborating your own question again, giving you another context. Suppose, for example, I have done the change step, and after that, again, I have gone through some other step like sorting or deletion or adding or anything. Okay, with that, another step has been added. Post that again, you realized I need to change the type of the format for another column. Then what is going to happen? Then when you click on that again format of the column, then you will see a new step called change type 1 that is going to add. Why? Because till the time you are in this particular step and you're doing any changes, it captures as a one-time change. But again, when you move out to the step and then come back to some other step, which is not related to the change type, but something else, and then again come back and then do some change type, then that is where your data has been captured or the steps are been captured in three different views. One is the first step is change type. The second step would be something else. Again, the third step is change type. Got it? Unless and until you are not moving out of this methodology, it will keep on capturing in the same thing, because we started with the date column and then we have ended up uh, changing the format for 4 or 5 different columns into the text format. It is keep changing, but as a single step. You understood this point?
Sometimes we can write the formula also, right, to effect these changes directly instead of selecting. We can write that formula also, right?
You can write the formula, but provided that you are good at the query editor.
Okay.
If you want, you can see the query editor. Just take a look at the screen. Do not do anything. On the view tab, there is an option called advanced editor. Okay. On the view tab, advanced group, there is an option called advanced editor group. So I'm click on this advanced editor. You see, when I click on the advanced editor, this is how the query can be written or can be seen in terms of an SQL mail. Now you can write this a SQL query, or you can write the query in terms of this as well, and you can update it. It will work, but provided that you need to, or you might have to write the, or keep the effort in writing the query in this way.
Okay. Yeah.
But what does that mean in? Is that right now we are writing it? No. This is automatically getting recorded in two different ways. One, in terms of the editor, like the SQL editor. Two, another in terms of the macro screen. It is getting updated in both the ways. Okay, hope this is clear for everyone.
Yes.
All right. So then what else is the next step that we can still look at? Now, again, just watch the screen for a minute. Okay. So we have spoken about the queries and then the query settings and then the applied steps under that. And then we have spoken about the query edit advanced editor. Now, what else I need to look at is we also did see how you can change the format of the column. Then do you observe here a statement here that says 10 columns and 999 plus rows? Do you observe this here? Left hand side, bottom of the screen. Does it say 10 columns and 999 plus row? So this particular table that I have loaded down into the Power Query editor has got around 10 columns. So if you look at this, it says I have got around 10 columns. Okay, that is where it shows 10 columns. And the rows of data in total, it is crossing more than 1000 rows. And that's one of the reason where you can still see it says 999 plus rows. Okay, this is what it means. It says it has got 10 columns and then more than 1000 rows. Okay. And then the next point to that, if you observe, there is one more statement here. It says column profiling based upon the top 1000 rows. Since your file is capable of only enabling the file for the first 1000 rows, you are able to see the preview only for 1000 rows. Or else, if your place is having more than three different, let's say, for now it is only one particular screen that you are looking at, right? So, but then you have, you wanted to see all the different rows, not just the 1000 rows. Then how do I see that? The option is you click on this particular statement here, column profiling based on top 1000 rows. You will see another option here called the column profiling based upon the entire data set. So just select this column profiling based upon the entire data set. Now you will see that your data is actually shown based upon the entire data set, not just only the 1000 row. But then you might question, how do I ensure this is working? And this is not since prior to this isn't working. How do I ensure this is working fine? So now let's get back to the work on this. Once you select the column profiling based upon the entire data set, okay, go to the view tab, and under the view tab, under the data preview group, okay, select on column quality. Just select the column quality. View tab, under the view tab, under the data preview group, look for the column quality option and check that this is the checked in. The column quality is checked in. The moment I say check the quality, the column quality, you can observe above the column or below the column name, there are certain information where it says valid is 100%, error is 0, and then empty 0. What does this indicate? This indicates that your column longitude or your column latitude or your column quiescence or your column as on have got all the informations filled in. There is no blank cell in any one of the column. Okay, there is no blank cell in any one of the column. Every data in this particular column is updated with the data. So because of that, you can see it says valid 100%. It says valid 100%. And if I hover the mouse here, you can also see it says 8849. So there are total 8,849 rows of the data, and all the rows of the data are filled in with some data. Okay, so that's why it is showing us 100%. And since there are no errors and no empty, it is shown as 0% on the error side and empty side. Now you see the same window. I'm changing this back to the default option, which is column profiling based on 1000 rows. Okay, even then you see the result as valid 100%, valid 100%. But when I hover the mouse, just take a look. Now, do you see the value is shown just as 1000, but not 8800? This is happening because of the option which is called the column profiling based upon the top 1000 row. If you change this to the entire data set, you will see the entire data set. But if this is based upon top 1000 rows, you will get the answer for only top 1000 rows of the data. So what will happen between these two? When you select this entire data and then do the changes, your data will be applied to the entire data. And when you select the top 1000 rows and do some modification, even then your your data or will be applied to all the data sets within the file, which means either you do this way or you do that way, your data will automatically, like the step that you have applied will automatically be applied to everywhere. But the only difference that you might not be able to identify is unless and until you go and look at the hover the mouse here, you will not see the total count. Okay. And then what else you need to understand? Um, since this is a place where you can see your data has been shown in a different kind of quality, if that is not the case, you don't want to see it this way, you can see column distribution, like the same information being put in a kind of a graphical representation like this. But I don't think so. This makes some sense. So you can just ignore it even. Even on the column profile also, it has the same thing. It doesn't show everything like in 100% way. But yes, you might like this information sometimes. Okay, you might usually like it. But I would say just think about changing the, use the column quality, but not nothing else. So that's much more better. Okay, so overall, this is what you need to understand, or you need to see what are the options that you are getting onto the Power Query editor screen. Okay, this is important for now. Is it understandable? Again, any questions so far on this?
So,
Yeah.
hello. So I don't have a like query, but as I'm using the old version of October 22, okay.
Mhm.
So when I do that source navigation promoter and we have changed the date, so I got a one more tab that is change type one. So that's okay, right?
You got another tab called the changed type 1.
One. Previously there was already one change tab type was there.
In between
Again,
the
I
change type and then change type 1, is there any other step?
no nothing.
Okay, so which means you would have changed something into different
I
portions,
changed
or
one date and one was that text one.
and then you would have reversed one of them.
No, not yet. I will check again if I. No,
May
nothing I changed. Only two I changed.
can I see the screen? No, that is not
Yeah,
going
sure.
to affect anything, but I just wanted to say,
Yes.
because I believe something would have been reversed. And definitely, if there is no step between change type and change type 1, It should not create a change type one ideally. I'll stop sharing the screen.
Just sorry. This is visible? Okay.
Yes, it is visible.
I think I'm just a second, sir. I'm again sharing something.
Mhm.
So it's visible.
Yes, it is visible.
So like change type one.
Click on the change. Okay, that is because click on the change type one. It would have been happened. You have changed this to here and there. You can delete this, and you can restaurant ready. Yeah, you can even delete this step as well, and then redo this the other step. You can delete this as well. And now, if you
So
want, you can
promoted
do the
headers.
change. No, no, promoted headers, leave it the same.
Okay. So already we had changed to text and this date. So
Now you can change this text tab to back to the same thing. Now you can change this as on from as on to date type. Quizzes to
yeah,
text.
okay. So
Quizzes
done.
to text. Yeah, and then as on to date format. Yeah, this is good. And I mean that's good and close enough. Not a problem at all. That should be good.
Okay. So it was taking a time, so I thought to do it with this, and after the lecture I will update it the system.
Okay, no problem at all. No, that's
Okay.
absolutely okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So now this is what we have got on our plates. Okay. So far we have just brought in one particular data. Um, then we will also see how you can bring the information from the other places as well. Okay. But before we get into that, you guys want to take around a 10 minutes break? I know today it is being it has already been delayed, but you want to take a break for 10 minutes and then we can carry on with the remaining portion, but not more than that. Okay. Just around 10 minutes. Just be back by 1:05. Thank you. Just drop me a message, or maybe you can unmute and say if you're back. Okay, so your Manju's question, similar to the VBA macros, can we record the sequence of the data alignment and play it in a stroke? Well, this is not something that you are going to play and see how the data works in. But this can be a kind of, I would say, um, let me share my screen. So yes, in VBA, you can make sure you can record the macro and then append the code, and then it will run. In a one stroke, it will run. Now, this will also work in a similar way, but you might not see a kind of a play option, or let's say the F5 or F8 or step by step, nothing. So let's say, for example, if you want to see the step by step, okay, so you will go to the first step, you will see how your data looks like, and you'll go to the second step, how your data looks like, third step, how your data looks like, fourth step. Okay, this is the only way. And probably you will not see the like a movie that moves from one step to another step. It all goes in kind of a refresh. You will just see the end result here. Is it clear? You will just see the end result.
Because
I
you
hope
said there is some Mac recording feature. So where it helps us, I was curious about that.
the recording feature, in the sense it records in the form of an SQL query. This is how it is recording.
Okay, in our program, we are going to work on this editor, SQL editor.
Okay, let me put it this way. Now think about this very, very carefully, and then I mean, think about this point, whatever I'm saying, and then let me know if you are able to understand. Let's say, for example, um, okay, Manju, Narendra, and Anand. Okay, for example, you three of us are working for a different, for a single organization, and you three of you are connected to a single shared drive. Okay, think for a while. You three of them are connected to a single shared drive. Okay, then Anand downloads the report for you on a daily basis, and then once Anand downloads the report, probably I would say Narendra also give you one more report, and they both put the report on a shared drive. Now, what you have done, you have opened a Power BI file, and you are connecting both these two reports posted by Anand and Narendra, which are put it into the shared drive. And then you have done a sequence of step, like you took both the files and then you did a VLOOKUP, and then you have added extra column. And then once you have added the extra column, you made some deleted rows, you filtered some data, and then finally there is a report out. Okay, so this is a sequence of the step that you have created. Okay, now the sequence of the steps that you have created is been recorded in both the applied step, okay, as well. So because this is a step-by-step procedure that you are getting, so this is getting recorded, in the sense they are getting recorded in a step-by-step procedure. Then it is also recording in terms of the SQL query method. Okay, and then you are saving the report, and then you kept it aside. Now tomorrow Narendra and Anand, they have created a fresh report and then placed in the same location. Now what is your job? Are you going to redo all this procedure? No, you are going to open this Power BI report and then just click on the refresh. Okay, so you'll go to the home tab, and then you have an option where you click on the refresh. The moment you click on the refresh, all the steps whatever have been done, everything gets line by line updated, and you will see the report at the final step. Does it make sense?
Okay, that means the end user or those activities it has in his memory. So when I click the refresh, those steps are getting automatically done.
That's it.
Okay, okay. Yeah.
Now the
Once
second
we got,
portion of it.
yeah.
Now the second portion of it. Again, you three are again connected to the same place. Now, Narendra wants to make a copy of this report. Narendra wants to make a copy of this report. Okay. Now, what he can do, there are multiple ways he can copy. Like he can copy the file and then paste the file in his location. That is also one position. No, what he is expecting is he will tell, um, can you please share me the coding, or can you please share me something about the file? Then what you'd have decided, you go back to the view tab and then click on the advanced editor. And then what you decided is to copy this entire query. Okay. You're copying this entire query, and then you want to share the same thing to Narendra so that Narendra can paste it. So what does Narendra do? Narendra will go back and then open his Power BI desktop locally, and then open the Power Query editor and click on the advanced editor and then paste the code directly and click OK. Now he will also see all the steps which are being done from the beginning to end in his report as well.
Okay, so similar to that VBA code, this script, if we share to the other person and if he is having the same input file, my steps can be automated.
Simple.
Okay, okay. Maybe
Provided,
yeah.
provided, again, provided. That's what my expectation is. All the source. Okay. So let's say you are sharing the source to someone else, the entire script, provided that the other person should also have access to that particular location. Now you created a report where you are placing your input files in your local drive. Okay. In a local drive, you are placing your files and then you have created the entire report. Now, if your friend is asking, can you share me this code? And then you share the code, and then he opens the file and then he wants to see the same magic uh, happens in his system. It will not happen. Reason?
Because I have kept the source file in my local folder.
Perfect. If the same source is in your shared drive or in a place where you and your friend are connected, then it will work automatically.
Okay, maybe it's a Microsoft OneDrive with some shared access.
Could be. Yeah, that works very well. But OneDrive location, obviously, it is again coming back to your login ID, not his ID.
Okay.
You got it.
Glimpse how that recording, because initially you said right at the time I was just
See,
curious
recording.
like
No,
recording is there.
recording.
Yeah.
Recording in the sense, whatever you are doing, this is getting added here as an applied step. That is what it called. That is what it is called recording. I mean,
Okay,
not in
okay.
VB. In VBA, you're literally clicking on record the macro and then click on stop macro. You're here. You're not doing it. Whatever the step you are doing, this is automatically appearing here as an applied step.
Okay, okay, sir. Yeah, thanks.
And also getting added onto the advanced editor. Now you're going to see the same thing. Okay. Now this is what we have done so far. Now the second step, what I wanted to do right now today is I want to add another new column here. I want to add another new column. Okay. And give and then mention that column as, or with the entire column with the value called Asia. Why? So end of the day, what I'm expecting that is I'm going to load another few more continent files. And after that, I want to append all the data from different continents into a single file. Okay. When I try to append it, I might not be able to differentiate the total number of rows that are coming from one different table to append table. I might not say, okay, this particular line will belong to Asia. This when the file, this data belongs to Africa, or the other data that I'm appending might be belonging to some other country, continent called Europe. How do I differentiate it? Since I don't have a column that gets differentiated, I need to add a column here called the differentiate. Okay. So now, since I want to add a column with the value Asia, how do I add it? Now for a while, just take a look. On this applied steps, you saw the data till change type. Okay. So now I'm going to add option here, add column on the top. Click on the add column tab, and under the add column tab, under the general group, I'm going to create or click on the column called the custom column. Okay. Under the add column tab, under the general group, I'm choosing the option called the custom column. So clicked on the custom column, and all I need to give is a custom column name. So just take a look at this. I'm giving the name called the continent. I gave the name as continent. And under this is the column name called continent, and the custom formula that I need to write. Here I'm not going to write any kind of a formula. All I need is a text called Asia. So I'm mentioning this in the double quotes called Asia. Okay. I mentioned this in the double quotes called the Asia. But then think about this very clearly. When I am downloading this or when I'm doing this, okay, just make sure the name is followed the same way. Okay, I'm maintaining the same name. Just a minute. So yeah, this is what I'm adding the continent name when the column name as a continent and then the column formula here as an Asia. But see, when I'm doing this, I maintain the column name as a consistent. And similarly, Asia, I'm maintaining this or aligning towards whatever it is there here. Okay. As on the sheet name, I'm just maintaining the same as Asia or the file name. And then click OK. Now for now, observe this on the right hand side under the applied steps. After the change step, there is nothing. But then when I click on OK here, you could see there is another step added called the added custom. Now this will give an indication to the user to understand what are the different kinds of steps that you have gone through or done at every stage. So right now here I have added the continent called the new column called the continent, and I gave the name as Asia. And if you have done this properly for now, you might not be able to validate anything or see, yes, is it matching perfectly? But down the line, you will be able to understand where it is gonna affect if you do something wrong here. And I believe the continent, I mean, whatever the name here you have given, okay, this should be the same thing on the remaining files as well. But Asia, you would have given it in a proper case like capital A in the first letter and then followed by the small letters. And if this has been done, then now your count should be as 11 columns and 999 plus rows. Okay. Your data should be having 11 columns plus 999 plus rows. This is what you should be able to see now.
Shrikant, by mistake, I not renamed this column. How can I rename this column? It is showing me a custom name.
That's good. No problem at all. See, if you want to rename this column, or let's say you want to do some additional step, or let's say additional thing, or again, you want to modify that, all you'll do is to just observe each one of the step. At the end of the step, there is one gear button here or the settings button. Just double click on this. You will again come back to this place. Now you can rename this column. Okay,
Thank you.
right. Okay, I believe you might have done this. Now, so far we are good in doing this method. Okay, now let's do a simple exercise, every one of us. Since we have loaded the file called the Zomato Asia and you have got all the information, okay, I want you guys to do the same job by loading the Africa, Europe, NAM, Oceania, SAM. So there are remaining 5 other continent files wherein you need to add the same thing or load the same data to back to your query. Now, take around 5 to 10 minutes and just do the same thing. Load the first step. I'll do another sample. Just take a look here at the another sample. I'm on the same window, Power Query Editor window. Click on the new source, click on the Excel workbook. And then this time I'm going to load the file called Africa. And once I have loaded the file, I'll wait for the file to appear in the query window or in the navigator window. So once I have this on the navigator window, this is the sheet name. So I'm going to select the sheet name, click OK. So this is going to get added to the query section. And once after it is added to the query section, I'm not going to do anything here like source navigation promoted header change type. I'm going to remove the change type. Okay. I'm going to remove the change type and then I'm going to rename this date column to date. That's the only change I'm doing. And I'm renaming this to date column, or let's say, I mean, change the format to the date column. And then the next step is click on the add column, click on the custom column. And here I'm going to give as a continent. This is the same naming convention I have given on the previous one. Okay. So I've done this. And this time I have loaded the Africa file. So I'm just adding the Africa in the double quotes and then click OK. Now this is creating another custom column. So with this, now I have got 11 columns and 59 rows for the Africa file. Okay. So overall, from the time that you load the file, this is the last step that you need to do it. Now you have got 4 different files to
Uh,
do.
Sorry for interrupting. We have to follow the same process, add column, then continent, then Africa, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Now if it is Europe, you will do add column continent and then Europe.
Is the sequence important? Which continent we are adding first, something like that?
No, not required. Not at all. Load all the remaining continents and then just do the job till here.
And you wanted to change that date column
Change
to
the type
date.
to column to date type. Date type.
Okay, okay.
No, maybe for the first 3 files you might take around a minute or two, but otherwise around it should take in seconds. Just try to do it.
Hello.
Yes, listening. Yeah. Yes, Anand.
Hi, Anand. Africa, I done Asia, Europe, and one more which you have said.
Nam, Sam, Oceania. There are 3 more.
we can add the files together and later we can do the changing data types, right?
Yes, you can do anything. Yes, you can do that. The reason why I'm doing it instantly because so that I'm not gonna lose the step, or I might not forget the step. So I mean, you can do however you can. Okay, so have you guys done, everyone? Okay, it's Nair completed. Okay, how about the remaining ones, please?
Done, sir.
Lovely. Okay, Narendra done, Anand done. Manjunathan? Oh, sorry. Manjunathan is the one who completed. Okay, done. Sorry. Everyone have completed. Great. So if you guys have completed, now just take a look at my screen again. So your Asia table should have got 11 columns. Okay. And then Your Africa table should also have got 11 columns and then 59 rows. And then Europe, you should have got 11 columns and 80 rows. And then NAM, you should be having 11 columns and 438 rows. Oceania, you should have got 11 columns and 64 rows. SAM, 11 rows and 11 columns and 60 rows. So is this what the statistics that you are able to see? Okay. All right. So now let's look at this one. So far, what we have done is we have loaded the data from the different continents and then we have brought into a Power Query screen. So the next step, that is what you are going to learn. Now, the moment once the data has been loaded, the next step that I wanted to do is to combine all the information which is coming from different tables into a single table. And I wanted to say it's called the append one table or a consolidated table. Okay. So far we have got the data from six different files. So which means six different continents. And once after the data has been received, we loaded the file into the same data and we have added the continent as a new column. We have done this on the Power Query Editor screen. And whatever you are doing, it is not going to get updated onto your Excel. So which means right now, if you open your Excel, you will not find any new custom column there with the new continent name. You won't get it. It is just going to have only on the Power Query Editor screen. Okay. Now the next portion of it is we need to combine. Usually in Power Query Editor, this is what you might keep doing more number of times, even on your real-time scenario. Okay. Most of the time in Power Query Editor, this is one of the options that you might be relying on. I would say around 40% of the use will be there using this in the Power Query Editor, using this option. Since I want to club all the data into a single table, like appending the information, what should I do? So I have an option under the Home tab. Okay, under the Home tab, under the Combine group, under the Home tab Combine group, there is an option here called Append Query. Okay, Home tab Combine group, there is an option here called the Append Query. So do not try to click on the Append Query. The moment once I say, do not try to click on this. Okay, reason, there is an option here, but you need to keep. So while you're doing any step on the Power Query or the Power BI, what matters more is you have to keep your keep a keen observation on where you're doing. See, I'll show you the difference. Do not do this on your screen now. Just take a look at that. Right now, as I told you, go to the Home tab and then click under the Combine group, click on the Append Query. What it is going to happen? You see on the left hand side for now, I'm on the Asia file selection. Currently, right now, it is on the Asia file selection. So that's why it is on the background color you can see in the gray color. And when I click on the append query, what is going to happen? You see there is a critical mark coming on the Zomato Asia. What does this indicate? This indicate that currently you are doing this step on the file on the Asia table. So which means when I try to use another data from different table, the data will come and sit under the Asia file. Okay, it is going to affect the Asia table. It is going to disturb the original table. So this is what you need to keep an observation. You shouldn't do it. What you need to do, I'm expecting to create one new table with all this data appending into that particular table, a new table. Remember this. Just because that I wanted to look for another new table, what I need to do, I'm going to click on the Home tab, Combine group, and there is a drop down for the append query. So I'll click on the drop down and I'll choose an option here called append query as a new. So the moment once you click on append query as a new, do you see that the critical symbol is been appearing anywhere? No. This indicates your data tables, whatever it is there are right now, are not being affected. But at the same time, you're creating an append one table as a new so that it is not disturbing the original tables at all. So I'm going to select the three or more table here. And when I'm selecting the three or more different tables, very when ideally you might see that one of the table name might appear here as a data. Okay, this is already appending. So which means on the right hand side, the Zomato Asia is already added by default. So now I need to add Africa. So I'm adding Africa. I want to add Europe. I'm adding the Europe. And NAM, Oceania, SAM. I want to add these three. So if you want to select a single file, you can select the single table and then click on add. That will add. You want to select all these three at one time. So I'm selecting NAM and then hold the shift key and then select it down. I'm holding the shift key and selecting it down. Okay. I mean selecting the last one so that all the three are appended or selected. Just click on add. This will also add or append the table, or let's say it is coming to the right hand side. So this is a place where I'm going to add all the files here. This is a place where I'm going to add all the files. Now just click OK. The moment I click OK, you will understand that all the tables are all the data are added here. Now, how do you quickly know that the data is added? The simple way, if I select the continent, you will see, and there is an option here called the load more. When I click on the load more, you might see that Asia, Africa, Europe, NAM, every continent details are been added. Okay. Now also the second indication, tell me yes if everyone see the statistics as 11 columns in 999 plus row. If there is any deviation in this that say not 11 columns and 999 rows plus something else, just say no. Give me a yes if everything looks fine. If you would have followed my instructions, and you should see exactly what I see on my screen as 11 columns. I'm expecting the same thing. If not, let me know.
Sir, I have query. Actually, I have a
Yes.
two continent. So might be I done it two continent. Can I share my screen?
Okay, wait. If you have two different continents, which means the naming that you have given is wrong. You
Yes,
should have
yes,
given
yes,
something
yes.
wrong. You need to get back and you need to go back and set it up.
Okay, so I have to go back again and I have to follow the same steps.
Okay, you can share your screen now.
Sir, even two times a continent is coming, but we I deleted it later.
Okay, just uh, watch the screen of the person, like whoever it is. Just take a look. If this is what the problem is, I'll tell you. Okay, now
Yeah,
do you see that?
actually made this.
Right. Now, if you look at this, there are two continents which had been given, like two continents came in, correct?
Yes, sir.
And both the continent namings are wrong. Both are wrong. But then, if you look at your first table continent, it says Asia and then load more. Now the click select on the drop down, second drop down. Okay, this is also Asia. No, this is quite interesting. Go to the Asia table. No, 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 no. Cancel this. Cancel this. Cancel this. Right. See, if you go to the Asia table, I believe that in the Asia table you would have done something. You would have done something wrong. First thing, you have added a column called the Asia, which is good. Can you set it up your continent name here properly? Continent.
So here, so,
Not there on the formula bar.
so here,
Yeah,
so INT, right?
INENT. Good. After the Asia, good. Now it is set it up. Okay. Now go to the Africa table. I believe you would have added the added column name and given Asia. Okay, no. Now can you set it up the continent spelling here as well
Okay, sir.
in the formula bar?
Yes, sir, I'm doing. Sir, same step to follow for everyone.
Now go to the next one.
Hello.
Let me see the next one. Go to the Europe. Okay, yeah, you need to change the continent name. Similarly, do the same thing for NAM, Oceania, SAM.
Okay, sir, I will do it.
But then I believe somewhere you would have given Asia twice. So that's where the mistake came in. I'm just wondering where it would have been given. Okay, NAM should be in capital letter also.
So this.
Yes, NAM should be in the capitals. So change the same thing in the formula bar.
So,
Yes,
uh, I think it's came all the things.
perfect. Now it is on the same page. Good.
Yes.
How
Okay,
about
thank
the
you, sir.
remaining people? How about the remaining everyone? Okay, Nair, Anand is okay. How about Narendra?
Hi, Shrikant. One doubt I have here.
Yes.
When we are loading it, it shows uh, all the continents
Mm-hmm.
when we click on load more. But when we scroll down even more, even after more than say 2000 or 3000 rows, it is showing continent as Asia only.
Huh. If you remember, probably you remember around 1 hour back when we are explaining about column profiling based upon top 1000 rows and then full data. Do you remember this
Yes,
concept?
yes, yes.
During the time that Asia file had got around 8,849 rows of data somewhere.
Right, 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 right. Yeah, right.
So then if it is 8,849 rows, obviously when you keep scrolling down, it will also still show you Asia only.
Okay, so after that many rows, it might be showing Africa, Oceania, and all. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Got it?
Yes, yes.
Very good. Okay. Then Is it something like okay, now we are all on the same page, right? Nair, Narendra, Bhagavan, sorry, Anand, and Manjunathan.
Yes, sir. We should keep it as entire set or only 1,000. Anything we can
I
keep or
mean,
how?
anything is fine. Anything is fine. That's fine. It's not just that you need to go with this. You can do anything. That's okay. Absolutely okay.
So just Shrikant need to confirm the row count is 9550, right?
Yes, you can keep the, I mean, 9550, isn't it?
9550 total.
Yeah,
So
let
that
me see this. Let me see that. Yep, the row count is 9550.
okay, great. Thank you.
Yep.
How to
Okay.
see the row count? How to see the row count?
Uh, you can change this the column profiling based on entire data set here. If you remember this concept, you need to change it here first. So once you change this here, you can just hover the mouse on this green color, on the teal color here on the top. It
Your
will show you
screen
what
is
is the
not
total count.
visible, Shrikant. Your screen is not visible.
Sorry. Sorry. Okay. You see this one, right? On the append1 table, what I did is I changed the
Not yet.
column
Not yet.
profile based
It's
upon
not
the.
yet came. Screen not yet came. Yeah, now it came.
Oh, okay. So on the append1 table, if you look at this, this is column profiling based upon the entire data set, isn't it? So once you change this, hover the mouse on the top on this teal color. Okay. If you hover the mouse on the teal color, you should be able to see the statistics here. 9550. Does it show everyone the same way?
Even Shrikant, on another way, in a view tab, we are doing this column quality, right?
Yeah, you
In that, if
can
you go, yeah.
use that way also. Yeah, anything. You can see it here as well.
So if possible, can you again explain it where to see 995 rows?
Okay. All you are gonna do is double click on the append1 table here. Okay. Double click on the append1 table. Then do you see this option here called column profiling based on entire data set? So initially it should have been shown
Yes,
as
sir.
based on top 1000 row. You will click on this and then select the entire data set. Okay. After you do, go to the view tab on the top and then select the column quality on the top. Check this column quality and keep the mouse anywhere here. So you will see the count should show as 9550.
Okay, sir, I will check it. Okay, thank you.
Got it, everyone?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, okay, now what I'll do, I'll
I think
keep
Shrikant,
this.
sorry to interrupt.
Yes. Mhm.
If we do a spelling mistake, then it is showing this two means adding this column, right? So continent, if I
Yes,
do a
it will.
spelling mistake, yeah. So
And in
first,
fact, that is what I have asked earlier. How many of you are seeing on the append1 table only 11 columns like me? If you're not seeing the 11 columns like me, if you are seeing more columns or less number columns or anything, then you should have done somewhere something wrong. So if you
so
have done something wrong here,
according to spelling that that rows are added, columns are added. Sorry.
yes, according to the, okay,
Yeah.
what if, okay, you think about it, leave about the Power Query. You think about it. Uh, one file has column A and column B. Okay.
Hmm.
Another file has column B and column C. Okay. Now
Hmm.
you have added a new file. Okay. When you have added a new file, I'm saying you need to append all the data. Now, when you append all the data, how many columns in total you will get in the third file or the appended file?
3.
3.
Why?
B is column common.
Correct. So B is common across both the files, and so it will get 3 columns.
Right.
Now the same concept you follow here in Zomato Asia, Africa continent, but if one place is saying capital A and one file has capital B, another file have got capital, instead of capital B, it has got small b and capital C, then do you think you will get again 3 columns or you will get 4 different columns?
Right.
So you mean it
Your
is case
expectation,
sensitive also?
your expectation is you'll get 3 columns because it is a case sensitive. It doesn't follow the case sensitive, but it follows the case sensitive. Even a slighter space or anything would also definitely be treated as a different word. So you
So
need to
if
understand.
yeah, so if I write in one, for example, Zomato Sam, if I write continent as in caps, then it will add it in 12th column, 12th row,
Yes,
right? Na?
yes, correct.
So it is case
12th column.
sensitive.
It is case sensitive,
Okay, sir.
right? I mean, these are the tiny, silly mistakes that you might think, okay, these are very silly, but these create a lot of impact over the data. Why not? There could be a necessity where I need to write the same in a small letter, small case or in capital case based upon the justification that I want to give to my data. It depends. But then that's the reason why these are all case sensitive. So that's one of the reason where I thought, let me see how many of you might take this as a correct. I know every session there could be one person who might do it something little wrong. Even sometimes I do. But the small things will create a lot of large impact on your data skills. So that is what I want you to keep make you aware of. Hope you are able to understand right now what is the difference between when you are doing the append, what are the different things that you need to follow.
Yes, sir.
Hi,
Uh,
Shrikant.
yeah.
Usually, where do we use this method for appending? Like only when there are a similar set of columns in, say, 5 to 6 files, or
Okay,
only in
I
that
will
case,
give
or
you
yeah.
I will give you a particular scenario probably where you might do this every time. Um, let's say you're working on a particular field where you're supposed to uh, share your information on a daily basis. Then let's say, um, which department you belong to?
HR.
Okay, so daily headcount, let's say for example, you have a daily headcount file you're preparing. So day one, you are preparing, let's say January 1st, you prepared one headcount. January 2, you prepared one headcount. January 3, you prepare headcount. So you're preparing the headcount file on a daily basis, which is closing and opening, closing and opening, closing and opening. You're just maintaining 2 different columns. Now, end of the day, January 31st, your total month of the headcount will be start. What is the opening and headcount? You don't need to append anything here, correct? That is
Right.
what you'll be having. However, the same headcount file, let's say instead of headcount file, you are maintaining the terminations. January 1st, the terminations are so and so. January 2, terminations are so and so. 3 terminations are so and so. So you're creating a file like that. End of the January 31st, you want to see total terminations. Then you might have to club all the 3 different, or let's say all the files from January 1st to January 30th. Where will you append and how you might append it? On the Power BI case, you can just use the append query so that it gets automatically appended. That makes sense.
Yes.
So that is where you can use this kind of appending concept.
Sir, sorry, just maybe a very fundamental. So after combining it, can I download it into an Excel file? This all 6 continents information.
Same query I'm having. Can we
See,
export it in Excel?
see, if you ask me, like, I mean, I can give you a way that you can do it. There is no option to export the data out, but you can still copy the data from this place. But my question is like, why do you have to use only a Power Query just for appending the data?
No, no,
Instead,
no.
you have the Power.
No, it seems to be like sometimes we may have to club the data instead of copy paste. Maybe I'm just seeing whether there's an alternate means to do the same thing.
Exactly. You have the alternate method, and if you understand what I'm saying, you have an alternate method. You can do it. But my question is, if it is only your option is to just append the data, don't try to use it through the Power Query. I mean, through the Power BI. You still have the same thing on your Excel Power Query where you can do the same option. Fine. To give an answer, how you can do it? Do you see this symbol here on the append one table?
Yeah, yeah.
Just click on this. You see an option here, copy the entire table.
Yes, yes, it's coming.
Click on the copy entire table. And then now I'll open a new Excel workbook. Okay. Just click on the blank workbook and I'm going to paste it here. But then the only problem here is the the entire data set is not being working. Okay, that's the only problem you're going to see. Not everything can be downloaded because I think it is picking up only the first 1,000 rows. This is the only problem. Although I have selected the everything, this is the only point that you might see. It will give you the, you see, it is still giving you only the first top 1,000 rows.
Are you scrolling down where you are seeing it's only 1,000 or something?
I just put a column here. I can see what is the total count of it. 1,001.
Okay. We are not
Okay,
able to see that numerous. Okay, but you are telling only a part of data is coming.
exactly. There is only a part of the data. So what my point is, if you are using, everyone are using Office 365 or 2016, 2019, what kind of version you are using Excel?
I'm using Office 365. I'm having that.
Very good. Then you see in Office 365, do you see this option called data?
No, should I navigate now to my Excel sheet? 1 second. Yeah.
No. Just take a look
Okay.
at this. It will be there. That's the reason I'm saying. There is an option
In
here
your
on the
in your
data.
screen, I'm okay. You are showing in your screen. Okay, let me follow. Data, yes, data.
Under which you see an option called get data.
Yeah, get data.
And here you have an option called Excel file from the Excel workbook. Or I would say directly click on the launch Power Query editor here. Under the same get data, directly click on launch Power Query editor. Okay.
Okay.
This will again open one Power Query editor in the Excel screen. Now I would request you do this the same thing whatever we have done right now in Power BI.
Okay.
Whatever we
Okay.
have done, you do the same thing on the screen and click on close and load. It will apply it back so that all your files can be appended at one shot. You'll get the entire data here from here.
Okay, got it. So
Can you repeat
let me
Srikanth again?
explore within that.
See, instead of doing it from the Power BI screen, go to your Excel file. If you are using Office 365, then you will have the option from the data, get data, launch Power Query editor. This is the step you can do. If you are using 2019 or 2016 also, the option will remain the same like data. Under the get data, you will see the launch Power Query editor. But if you are using somewhere 2013, then you need to have a Power Query editor add in separately added to your Excel application. If it is below 2016, you need to add this separately. Otherwise, if it is 2016 and above, it is a by default add-in option available on your Excel, and you can do it from here. And this is what exactly I have told very clearly, that there is a tiny difference between both the Excel Power Query Editor and the Power BI Query Editor. Is it clear?
Okay. Thank you, sir. So Office
See, I
365 and
understand.
2.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
2016.
216 and above, we will have a workaround.
Yes.
So we can, without coming to Power BI, we can do that activity, right? Got it.
Yes, only the consolidation.
Okay.
Srikanth, just 1 minute.
Yes.
I would like to add on something on this since Narendra and Yuvan has raised the same question. See, Srikanth's point of view is, hope you have understood why we are more dependent upon the Power BI, though we have the similar feature in Excel. So what is the point of learning Power BI? Any idea?
because it is helping for data visualization, a larger
You
perspective.
you have the same in Excel also, Yuban. You have got column chart, you have got line chart, you have got the bar chart, even waterfall, everything. Since you are using Office 365, you have got all the better format of the charts. So except some ribbon charts and all those things, Gauss chart and all, we do not have that much option. But we
I
have got
think
waterfall, we have got histogram, we have
Sir,
everything. But
excuse me.
still,
maybe the file size.
that's a good one. So when it comes to Excel, when Yuban is trying to append the data, I mean, after consolidating everything in connecting multiple files in the Power BI window, you are expecting the same to be loaded in Excel. So when you bring the same data to load in Excel, Excel file size will be huge. And what will be happening, even though you have a good configured laptop or high definition of RAM or i7 processor, but your Excel slows down your entire process. So this is the reason why we are not loading the data in the front end. We are loading the operations in the back end. That is what the Power BI. When you go for Power Query Editor in Microsoft Excel, what is happening? You are not doing any action in the front end. You are doing the action in the back end. Whatever Srikanth showed in the Power Query Editor, that is your backend operation. Backend, you can do consolidation, but when you bring it to front end again, if it is more than 1 million rows, again, your data processing will be very slow. So this is the reason why we are learning Power BI, load our data in the backend, and the visualization dashboard, everything will be happening in the front end. So it's a layman language. I made it very simple.
Yeah. Thanks, sir. Thanks for giving this clarity, that
No problem.
file size and all.
No
Thanks.
problem. No problem. Okay, Srikanth. So hope that is a add-on to the things, whatever they had the queries. So you can please continue with
Yeah,
that.
yeah. No, no, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. So, okay, so let's do one thing. I will just give you a recap of what we have done so far. Um, so we are working on adding, I mean, so far what we have done is we know how we are going to add each one of the file on your Power Query environment through the Power Query editor. And we also have did see what are the different kinds of Power Query, Power BI applications that we have, like Power BI desktop application, online service application, and mobile application, wherein we are right now currently working on the desktop application. And we have already spoken about the differences between the desktop and online, and I'll give you more information on the background when we talk more about it. And the exercise right now, what we have done so far is loading each one of the Excel file into the application. And how do you, again, uh, do the change type step? And these are the common steps that you are going to see whenever you load the file, like source, navigation, promoted header, and then change type. So I have given you explanation about the change type, like how you can able to handle this. And we also did see how you can add a custom column for each one of the table by going to the add column tab and then click on the custom column. And then we have added one of the column with a value for each one of the table. We have done the same exercise for each one of the table here, and we have loaded 6 different files. Now with this exercise, I would believe you are completely aware of how we are going to add the information or load the information from your local Excel files to the Power BI environment. And the last step we have done today is on the append one, where we appended all the different data from this each one of the table and then put it into a single table. I mean, single table as an append one. So that's where you have got the complete information added. Okay. And we also did see how you can see the column quality by going to the view tab and then click on the column quality. It will let you know what is the how total number of empty rows, empty cells, and error cells. And either you can rely on the column distribution or a column profile. And at any given point in time, if the formula bar is not visible, you're going to select and uncheck this formula bar to see. Similarly, on the query settings, if this is being closed, let's say, sometimes you might not be able to see the query settings. So do not get panic. All you need to do is to come back to the view tab and then just click on the query settings again here. This will enable the query settings tab. Okay. And also on the advanced editor, as I told you, the steps that you are going to work on will automatically be right hand side on the applied steps. It will be shown up. Similarly, it also gets added onto the advanced editor in the form of a query, wherein you can share this query with your people provided that the source can be accessible by between you and the other person whom you are sharing. 100%. Only once this is, you and your peers are able to access it properly, that's the only time where you can share this space code, that it will automatically work for them as well. And I know there are 5 different tables or 6 different tables here. Okay, sorry, 7 tables here. And each one of the query for the table can be separated, shared separately. You cannot export all the queries at one time. There is no option like that. If you want to share it, you can share the query, or you can share the code for each one of the tables separately. Okay, this is where we have learned so far. Now, post which, what I would like to say, uh, we are going to add few more files here supporting table on the next space. And then what we're also going to see, how you can club or create a connection between each one of the table. And you are going to see how the connectivity is being provided across each one of the table, and what does that mean in the Power BI screen, and how you can utilize the same thing. The next bit we are going to see after that is on the model creation, transforming, cleaning, and the model creation. Everything we are gonna do it. So while we are doing it, you will learn a little bit on the DAX formula, a bit of formulas on the DAX side, mQuery language. So these are the points that we are going to learn. Don't worry about as I told you that we have started a bit late today, but this time it doesn't mean that I'm going to lose the content. I'll be able to cover the content in between, okay, on the next sessions. So once again, I apologize for that, but next time I'll be ensure that I'll be ready. Just do a practice till here, and just go through the content, and then whatever you have learned, if there is any question, just do let me know, and then we can discuss the same thing on the next class and then carry forward. Okay.
Sir, one thing. This
Yes.
individually we are adding one last column. Provided
Yes.
all the basic template is having only 10 columns. Is it
Right.
possible to select all tables and add that continent name something? Anything is possible like that, or one by one only we have to do that
Okay.
adding column?
Okay. Now let's think about, don't think from the Power BI perspective. Think from the simple logical perspective. Now you have added all the information into a single table. Then you need to add the continent column name for each one of the row. So logically, is it possible for you to find out which row belongs to which particular column table?
Okay, in case if suppose if all this data pertains to the boys, okay, boys of this continent, is it a possible I can populate a column boys, something like that?
You can. That is what we have done right now as an exercise for each one of the different table. But when you put it into a single table, imagine that you don't have the continent column in any of the table. Now the point is, when you are clubbing all the information into a single table, how do you differentiate that each number of each row belongs to each one of the to certain column? I mean, sorry, to certain continent.
Okay, again, I am saying whether there is some option where we can add some, if you will park the logic, is it possible data or column for two tables together? Technically, I'm just asking.
Yes, you can do that. That can be done. That is what we have done so far now.
Okay, okay.
Okay,
Okay, sir.
right. Any other questions from anyone? Apart from being late, me being late, is the pace and everything can be maintained the same so that we can able to cover up the complete course?
So when you give that practically 6 continent addition, I am
Mhm.
very slow, sir. I should admit. So try to consider my speed.
No, no, no problem at all. But if you would have understand, probably you can again work on the same thing offline, and then again you can let me know if there is any questions for you. But my pace towards to you in giving and explaining the things and taking forward, is that okay, or am I running so fast?
Yeah. No, sir. Fine. Absolutely. For me, it's fine. While giving the practical exercise, I was the last to complete that one.
No, no, that's fine, Manju. Don't think it is a competition. This is a learning pace. Yeah, you might go slow, I might go fast, someone else go might slow a little bit. So nothing to worry about all this. Okay. Okay, how about Anand? How about Anand Nair and the Narendra? You guys are okay?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Yes, yes,
Everything
Srikanth,
is
yes.
okay. Yes.
Okay.
So
Uh,
we'll get this recording, right? So
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah. I
Yes,
was
you'll get the
about to say
recording.
that, guys, don't worry. And the group is created for that purpose only. Whatever your queries during the practice also, you can raise your concerns and you can drop your queries in the group, and we'll be definitely trying our best to address all your queries. But practice is very, very essential. This is the reason why we have taken 4 sessions of 4 different weekends, rather keeping at a stretch of 4 days, so that since it is a new tool and you need to have the complete awareness about the features, tools, menu driven options, and doing the real time practice also, you'll be getting some challenges. And whatever the queries, we are supposed to address all these things. This is the reason why we have customized the program like this, and we are always there to give a helping hand, don't worry. But be ready with all your practice and queries when you step into the day two training program. That is essential. All right, and as usual, we have committed you'll be getting the recordings in another 2 hours time max, and go for a practice about all the same data sets you can use so that we can be in the equal page. Any concerns, we are there to address. And I believe the pace was good as Srikanth was asking the questions. Any doubts or queries remain unclarified?
none, nothing.
Okay,
Sir,
okay.
hello.
Yes, Anand.
Hello, Shrikant, sir. Sir, no, this is for Shrikant, sir, actually.
Okay.
Okay.
Sir, actually, actually, I said like I'm using the October 22. So
Mm-hmm.
when I'm going for about and everything for upgrade, it's asking my